Look at this. Do you know what this is? This is a Tiki Tribe OC made by my sister, which was inspired by a drawing I made. And you'd never believe, but my sister isn't even the only person to make one of these. That had nothing to do with the topic of the video, but I figured I might as well throw whatever other thoughts I have about this game too, since they wouldn't make for videos on their own. Though I don't play it often, Donkey Kong Country Returns is a game I hold very near and dear to my heart. And some of the big things from my childhood that made this game special weren't even in the game at all. Every game has some variant of playground rumors, even if it's in the age where you can very easily fact-check things. But the difference here is this is literally just two stupid brothers gaslighting themselves into thinking something exists when it doesn't. First mystery is straight off the box. You got the first antagonist right there, and you've got, for some reason, like the second to last antagonist right there. They're very obviously in the frame. If you look a little closer, we've got Accordion, Gong-O, and the Maraca triplets there. So we always theorized that we could find the other two, freaking Banjo Bottom and Wacky Pipes, just peak names, somewhere in here. But even looking at the entire promo art without the cover in the way, they are not able to be found here. But we would spend hours trying to see if they could be. Wacky Pipes can be seen briefly in the intro cutscene, but Banjo Bottom is nowhere to be found. His name was simply too powerful to allow his presence in the beginning of the game. The second mystery is in the first level around the middle. One of the most iconic scenes plays, where a giant ship carrying a huge net of bananas goes by, with a single smug Tiki piloting it. I always wondered why this character never appeared anywhere else in the game, wondering if it was perhaps a secret boss I didn't know how to find. But years later, I would take a closer look and determine that it was actually just Accordion holding a staff. However, only now, looking at high-resolution pictures for this video, I can verify it is, in fact, a completely different character, and even has its own concept art. It certainly looks possible it was an older design of Accordion that was repurposed, but this character even gets its own name, simply being Tiki Pilot. But it still begs the question, why does this character exist? Or better yet, why doesn't this character exist outside of this scene? His design and the fact that he's in charge of the main mission makes it seem like he'd be pretty important. Coupled with the fact that he has a weapon, it could have made for a great penultimate or mid-game boss, changing the formula of the tribesmen just possessing random animals to the tribesmen fighting you with their own skills, which would have made Tiki Tong a much less jarringly different fight. Speaking of bosses, when you defeat one, the Tiki Spirit will rise out of the boss, and in one of the best moments of the game, you get to beat the ever-living banana balls out of them. But one time, I either wondered to myself or was given a tip from my brother to see what would happen if you just sat there and did nothing. Eventually, the Tiki will recover from dizziness and straight up jump scare you. This is just very deliberately disturbing, and there's really no reason for this to be in the game. So as a kid, I wondered if there was a secret bad ending if you let all the Tikis escape, but I was too much of a coward to actually try it out. That and I need to start a fresh new file, and this game is freaking hard. Of course, it wouldn't even make sense for this to cause a bad ending because all the Tikis are still alive before the final boss anyway. Another thing you can do is engage in the attack, but not shake the Wii remote at all. It will have Donkey Kong only throw a single punch, and instead of the triumphant jingle that usually plays, you just get this mildly unnerving, almost galactic sounding sound effect. There's nothing else to say about this, it just made me feel uneasy. Now for some rapid-fire miscellaneous things. When you kill 3 or more enemies in a row with anything other than a roll, a weird muted laugh plays. I always wondered who this laugh is supposed to belong to, but thinking about it now, it's probably just supposed to be Donkey Kong himself. Still a very weird filter they play over it. I swear there was this ever so slightly different graphic used for Kalimba when you die in World 1 before you beat the game, but there isn't. I just probably thought there was because the icon is different proportions to the real thing. I remember thinking if you kept slamming this pad at the beginning of the game, it would eventually turn red, but I was actually thinking of a different pad that was virtually the same that turns red. This background element in the cave's loading screen looks like a Dr. Zeus character. Another real Easter egg is Mr. Game & Watch in the first level of the factory, but I specifically remember needing someone else to see it to verify I wasn't hallucinating. I never spotted Samus's gunship in the back of—
Actually, I'm an idiot. It's not in Donkey Kong Country Returns, it's in Tropical Freeze.
But still, you better watch your mouth, Shay Frillas.
Metroid Prime 4. That game doesn't even have Donkey Kong.
Finally, at the end of the game, I always thought there would be a boss fight with the Tiki Tong Tower itself. I don't know why. But one oddity I only just now learned is the tower actually has a duplicate of its face on the backside of its head that you would never see. Neat. Almost every cutscene has 3 variations, one for Donkey Kong himself, one for Diddy by himself, and one for both. There's even a hilarious Diddy-only variant of the ending cutscene. And of course, in the post-game, I guess, we have different temples to unlock the Golden Temple, but I remember specifically cutting off the super guide right before he grabs the orb, so just seeing this cutscene felt like a myth, because I was so bad at the game. After everything, you unlock Mirror Mode, and for someone so determined that there are secret bosses or endings or whatever in the game, you'd think I would have completed Mirror Mode to see, but I didn't. Even at the time, I thought it would be better if I streamed it sometime, and I still might, so comment if you want to see that. But at the end of everything, one must wonder why my brain forged all these mysteries. I'm sure every game I've played I've had at least one moment like this, but I'm looking through my Wii catalog and I can't recall any game that made me think these things this many times. As mentioned earlier, when you die you get an icon of the world's boss. Except in the final world, before you've beaten the game, instead you just get a question mark. It's not like the final boss's design is anything crazy or a character you would recognize. The mystery aspect here is entirely forced. But it was really effective on me, and I was genuinely really hyped for the big reveal every time I saw this question mark. And it at very least unquestionably inspired my self-imposed Mandela effect about the first death screen. And really, while never directly having attention brought to it, the game itself is shrouded in mystery. The Tikis themselves, their motivations, the Golden Temple, why bananas have magic properties in the first place. But the biggest mystery of them all? Why people hate this game for being different. Like, Donkey Kong has never been a series grounded enough for a status quo shift to be such a big bother. Okay, that's it. Bye.